Welcome to another wonderful course with our instructor, Rabbi Rali Resnick, who was an instructor for us previously on our first course, The Jewish Pathways to Forgiveness. And we're excited to have you back, Rabbi Resnick.
It's wonderful to be back.
This course is about the mitzvah of honoring one's parents, one's father and mother. And my first question is, why would there be a mitzvah specifically regarded to honoring one's parents, as opposed to just honoring either your elders or honoring everybody? Shouldn't we honor everybody?
I'm really looking forward to this course for that reason. There is no relationship like the parent-child relationship. That dynamic does not exist anywhere else. And because of that, God in the Torah provides an entire paradigm, a structure for the way that the parent and child have to interact. It's unique, it's different than any other relationship. The parent is the source of our life, and therefore, the way we respect them is of an entirely different order and magnitude.
So would it be fair to say that the way someone treats their parents is, in a certain sense, almost like a telltale or a tell sign for how they would treat other people? In other words, if you didn't treat your parents well, then it's unlikely you probably respect other people.
Well, on the other hand, it's sometimes more difficult to treat your parents correctly. Familiarity doesn't only breed contempt, but it can also breed neglect. Sometimes when you're too familiar with something, you can be really nice to strangers, but you can have someone who's larger than life, and then their mother walks into the room and they're reduced to... it almost is a humbling experience, and because of that, it's so important.
Right. I find it interesting. I've heard it from a lot of people, and it's a discussion not only in a Jewish circle or a faith-based circle, but in general. In today's society, the respect for parents has, perhaps you can say, even eroded entirely. I mean, I've seen places where children are telling the parents what to do.
And I think that that's one of the things I hope that people come away with this course, and that is exactly what you just said, that there is a relationship between our dedication and our belief in God and the way we treat our parents. And as a society becomes more secular in its faith and belief of God, that's going to have a direct impact on the way they treat their parents. And I think we're seeing that today. We do live in a society that is a more secular society, and because of that, parents are not revered and respected as they should and they were.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let me ask you a little more of a personal question. Where do you get your morals for honoring your parents? In other words, obviously, if you're giving a course about honoring your parents, you've thought about it, and it's something that you've studied. But where do you gather what it means to honor your parents from?
Well, the hardest part of giving this course is that my mother might be watching. And whatever I say on this course, she's going to say, Raleigh, I expect that of you. But the truth be told,
you have to talk the talk and walk the walk.
The truth be told, both my father of blessed memory and my mother, may she be well, both instilled that and ingrained within us from a young age. They both came from strong families themselves. That was something that their parents, they saw going back. And that's something that I hope that I can hopefully teach and transmit to my children as well.
So just on that note of you saying you came from, your parents both came from strong families and they brought you up, a lot of times people think when a parent expects or demands respect that they're just kind of abusing power. They're kind of saying, well, I'm greater than you. And some people say they'd rather be friends with their children. What's the right approach? Can you have both?
So it's actually, and in class number 4, we're actually going to talk quite a bit about this. There is a delicate balance here. On the one hand, we want to bring our children into our lives. We want to take them with us. On the other hand, we want to keep that deference and that respect. That balancing act is very difficult. It is clear that children are not our friends, but that's not to say that we are distant, removed, and totally not involved. That dynamic is a very difficult one, and getting that right is something we're going to be actually honing in on in class number 4, and I think that's a very important point.
Because it's a tough balance to ride, to be close with your children and comfortable, but also maintain that respect. Moving on to something maybe a little more somber, unfortunately, we have people who their parents genuinely did abuse them in emotionally, sometimes physically. What is the parameters of responsibility for a child respecting a parent that abused them?
Oh, that's simple. You have to come to class number 3 for that. But the truth is that there are certain modicums of respect that need to maintain throughout, meaning disrespect. However, to what level one is obligated, Torah does discuss that. Jewish law actually addresses this issue long before secular society has. And I think we have a very clear definition. That's one of the beauties about Judaism, that we really don't have to make these decisions on our own. We actually have a guide which has come from God Almighty that tells us what, when, and how we can live a truly meaningful, fulfilling life, fulfilling our obligations, and having all this balance. I think it's wonderful.
My final question for you, Raleigh, is what are you most excited about for this course?
Last course, it was really heartwarming to see some of the comments and some of the responses that a course being filmed here can have an impact on someone around the world, and it actually healed some relationships. And that was one of the inspirations. I am hopeful that we'll receive some feedback of someone who says, you know what, I didn't take this as seriously. I didn't visit my parents as often. I didn't tend to them. Perhaps I took them for granted. I was blasé about my relationship, maybe too buddy-buddy, and I'd like to maintain some deference. And I hope that we get some feedback to that nature, and that would be incredible. So this is really a lot of fun.
Well, I hope that that's the result too, and I'm sure it will be. And to all of you, I want to encourage you to enroll for the course, to join it. Rabbi Reznik is an excellent teacher, and it's sure to be an excellent course. So sign up, and when you do join the course, be sure to give us feedback, like Rabbi Reznik was saying. Tell us what you think. Comment, please, on the video page as well as the Facebook group that we have for the course, and I think everyone will have a lot to gain, and if we all take something away from this course, I think all of us will have a better life for it. Thank you very much.